And we are live. Welcome to the MLB Strategy Show. It is Friday, September 20th. Yes, it is. I'm Josh Engleman. You can see my Twitter handle below my body right here. Yeah, I like the alternating point. That seems to work. Hit the like button if you're here. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. And follow me on Twitter. You should do that. It would be fun for you. Big slate. A lot of games. What do we got? 11 today? 12 today? 12. We lock at 7:05. We don't have cores. We do have the Dodgers. I assume Shohei Ohtani will continue to hit 1,000 homers a day. We got a lot to talk about. I haven't even run a sim yet, so we're going to have a lot to break down. Still waiting on ownership, I believe. Let me double check that. But I got all my data run. We'll get to the answers when we get to the answers. Ownership. Yeah, we're still not there on ownership yet, but that's okay. We have plenty to break down. We do have a lot of games today. Lots of games. Should be a fun slate, though. Yesterday was not. Definitely leaned more pitching than hitting, depending on where you were looking. But rough day in the betting streets, too. Had a lot of unders. Needed one less out of Kikuchi for a pretty sizable return. That didn't work out. Ohtani had 81. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I got to look at that. That's insane, man. That is truly insane. All right, MLB yesterday, live scoring. Was that early afternoon? I don't remember what time that game happened. Not early, I guess. Afternoon? 81. Holy shit. I mean, that's truly nuts. Truly nuts. I'm gonna go to the score. I want to look at the stat line because I know I saw parts of it, but I don't. I know he had homers and stolen bases and shit, but 6 plate appearances, 6 for 6, 3 home runs, 4 runs scored, 10 RBI. And that doesn't even account for, what was it, 2 stolen bases? Yeah, 2 stolen bases. A single, 2 doubles, 3 homers, 4 runs, 10 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases. Is there a better performance in MLB history? Well, you have the 4 homer games. I can picture Mark Whitten having one. I know people have had it since then. But the 4 homer games probably get you there. 4 home run. The double grand slam games, too. 4 home run games in MLB. Who did it most recently? Josh Hamilton did it. JD Martinez did it. I remember the Mark Whitten one as a kid. So those are all the people that hit 4 in a game. Hasn't happened since JD in 2017. But only 6 RBI here. Scooter Gennett did it, which I don't remember. 10 RBIs, 17 total bases. What's the total base count here for Ohtani? So that's 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 17 for him as well. I mean, it's got to be up. The 2 stolen bases are massive. But yeah, this is this one right here. Mark Whitten, September 7th, 1993. I remember that one. I don't want to say that I remember it vividly. Scooter Gennett, 2017, Josh. And then Hamilton did it a couple years before that. Not enough RBIs, though. You got to probably get up to that 10 range. The Mark Whitten day is kind of crazy. 12 RBIs and the 16 total bases. But crazy day out of Ohtani. That's bonkers, man. Bonkers. You're so old you thought that shit just happened. That's how I feel about Mark Whitten, man. I was 8 years old when it happened, but somehow, like, that was just it's because of ESPN. I mean, if we look at that date, September 7th, 1993, I'm probably like either starting my first week of third grade or, I've been in for a week somewhere in that neighborhood at end of August, early September. I probably saw the highlights for that Mark Whitten day a couple times in the morning because every half hour you were watching SportsCenter to start your day and you would get the clips, and they led with it because it was, basically the best hitting performance for Mark Whitten at that time. No one had hit 4 home runs in a game since 1986. So it had been 7 years, and it had only happened twice since 1960. It didn't happen again for another 9 more years. I've never heard the name Mark Whitten before. I actually think Whitten hit 2 grand slams in an inning too. Almost positive he did. Maybe it was, it's Tatis Sr. Yeah, I don't know why I think of those things in the same way. Yeah, Tatis Sr. hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning. Which is fun. He'll be 32 next week. Jake, I mean, I guess, look, like Mark Whitten had like a year and a half where he mashed the shit out of the ball. I didn't expect to get into Mark Whitten here. But yeah, like Whitten's career was like relatively tight, but he just started hitting some dongs, and I mean, he got on the gas in the 90s, basically. That's about it. Alrighty, guys. That was a fun little walk down memory lane. Probably killed enough time to get to the ownership. Sure did. Perfect amount of time killing. Couldn't have been better. So let's drop ownership in. Let's get top stacks and top pitchers. All right. Top stacks is grabbed. Top pitchers is grabbed. So now I've got all of that information in. Could save. Could run my ownership. And then we can start breaking down this slate. We got plenty of time. NFL coming up after this. MLB Live before lock later tonight. It'll be a good day. Lots to cover in the baseball streets. Probably some college football out there that we could talk about on Odd Shopper Live later today at noon Eastern time. All right, let's hope this runs. And it does. So we're just going to let that one hang out there and run for a bit. And we're going to talk about this slate. So let's start with the team that I have number 1 in top stack. This is the team that Stochastic has number 2 in top stack. I assume they're number 1 on the Dodgers. I am number 1 on the Atlanta Braves, however. I've got them by 2 percentage points. They're 3rd in ownership. Only Michael Harris, though, is in double digits. He will once again look like, if not the best point per dollar play today, certainly something close, just because of that $4,200 price tag in the leadoff spot. And the fact that Belozo is on the hill for Miami, and he's not very good. Projects with a 5.25 FIP via steamer, bad strikeout rate, a high walk rate. I love getting to Atlanta here. Now, are you going to be paying up for Ozuna and Olsen? Yeah, but those guys deserve their price tags. You're also going to save a shit ton of money on Michael Harris and Jorge Soler. The only thing that I see here that's a problem is just that the fact that this Miami Park really nerfs righty power, but there's so much power here. Harris, Soler, Albies, Ozuna, Olsen. It's not like Sean Murphy doesn't have pop. Great way to try to buy a home run. I'm hoping that the Atlanta Braves are my most exposed stack today. Although it's not something that I totally expect to see. I'm guessing maybe the Red Sox, maybe, honestly, I don't even know. The Yankees for sure, if they're easy enough to get to, especially because they're on the road. But as I started off, Atlanta is my number one team in my top stack metric. They are the team that I think is the best option for today. But the Dodgers are close. Now, Stochastic has the Dodgers 1. I have them 2. I think it's very clear Atlanta and the Dodgers are the 2 top stacks. Now, for the Dodgers, you do have to pay up a little bit for Ohtani. He's 7,100 today, which I might add is as expensive or more expensive than 5 of the pitchers. But you do get the MPE, which makes things easier. Betts is expensive, and then everybody else is pretty easy to get to. You might say that, 4,800 for Freddie Freeman might be a little lofty at this point, but not against the Rockies and Kyle Freeland. Lefty, though. They're 4th in ownership. I think that's just telling a story of price, because they're 17th in value. I have them 13th, but we're talking about 2.5%. First outfield MPE to start. Outfield first. I don't love the stackability of the Dodgers. To me, these are usually situations where I get to 2 and 3 mans of LA. I'd be very surprised if I get to the 5 mans just because of the salary. Although there is some value out there on the pitching side that might be able to unlock it. I also don't think that I'm telling anybody anything they don't already know. Hey guys, there's this hitting park that plays up power 25% to both hands. The Rockies are one of the worst teams. Kyle Freeland is not all that good. Yeah, of course you want to get to the Dodgers. Oh, by the way, they're also probably the best lineup on the slate, or at least in that conversation. So clearly the Dodgers look good. What we do with that information is a different story. I think it's the rest of the teams that we want to get to. But that's where it starts to get interesting, because the Dodgers and the Braves are basically owned the same as the Astros and the Royals. Now, I'm assuming the Royals are just next level free. And I think the Astros are just, a fantastic team to get to when they're at full strength, which it seems like they are. Tyler Anderson's on the hill for the Angels. He's not any good. The implied total for Houston looks great. The lefty power potential in Houston looks great. Even in a lefty spot, kind of makes me like Alvarez and Tucker even more in a weird way, because it'll depress their ownership a bit. Park plays up lefty power. I have the Astros 3rd. Stochastic has them 4th, but we're talking about basically 8% on the dot. Now, they are the number 1 owned team, and I think that might cause a little bit of an issue. They're easy to stack, though. 2nd outfield, catcher 1st, outfield 3rd short, another catcher 1st. Flexibility is there for Houston. The Royals are the team I'm curious about, and they're free. It's Bobby Witt with a real salary and no one else. Bobby Witt looks amazing today against whatever a Mason Black is. These guys are either 6th or 7th in top stack, the 2nd best value that's available, but they're also the 2nd highest owned team. Although Bobby Witt is twice as owned as anyone else in the Kansas City lineup. So it's a little deceiving in that regard. I'm assuming I think they're over-owned. Interesting. Not as much as I think the Astros are over-owned. It really seems to me that the Braves are the team that I want. That sim should be close to done too. Yeah. So as I'm looking at it, we have 4 teams at the top: Braves, Astros, Yankees, Dodgers. I would rank it Braves, Dodgers, Astros, Royals. I'm a little less excited about getting to Kansas City. Park doesn't really help. Matchup's fine. Jason Gordon says, what about St. Louis? Steven Leibowitz says, I have some Diamondbacks. So let's look at both of those teams. St. Louis. So Cardinals at home. Ben Lively going for Cleveland. Not the best run total here. Cardinals are 14th in stochastic top stack, 13th in mine. We're about 6% to be top value, 9th in ownership. I don't really see anything here. Alec Burleson, I would say, is probably the best bat you could get to. Seems like he's going a little underrepresented. I'd be very surprised if I have St. Louis because you're not getting any ownership out of Lively and they don't grade out really well. Really, in these situations, what you're looking for is one of two things. Underrepresentation in ownership relative to top stack odds, and is the opposing pitcher getting any ownership? In this case, the Cardinals don't grade out all that well, but you also don't get the leverage. So my assumption is that that is not a team that I end up getting to. For the Diamondbacks, no ownership on the opposite side, but they are 7th for me. Sorry. 7% top stack is where I have them. That's 5th. Stochastic has them 9th at 4%. So this is probably the biggest gap between my projections and the site projections. And I am leaning more towards getting to Arizona. We have the Diamondbacks as the worst value stack on today's slate, which I don't think is crazy. 5,800 for Corbin Carroll in the leadoff spot is a big price tag. He also looks great. Ketel Marte is 6K. Christian Walker is 5,500. Eugenio Suarez is 4,800 in the 6 hole. So they're going to be really difficult to get to. But I think they look like a fantastic pay up to be contrarian option. Only 4% owned. That's 10th, basically dead middle of the pack. I think these guys are getting slept on. I just don't know if it's going to be easy to build out their lineup. That's going to be one. We're going to learn a lot about the Diamondbacks when we use the single lineup sim. Rance says Twins. Jeremy Savage says Twins. So let's look at that. Speaking of stacks, glad I got off of the Brewers yesterday and we left those with KJ. That didn't go well. Twins against Richard Fitz. Dick Fitz. This guy's name is Dick Fitz. Oh, I bet it does, brother. I bet it does. Tiny ding dong right here. So let's see how the Twins look for Dick Fitz. These numbers could not be more similar. Stochastic top stack, 6.4%. Josh top stack, 6.6. Stochastic top value, 5.5. Josh top value, 5.4. I mean, Dick Fitz is the perfect name for a Boston guy. All these Irish characters and their tiny dingers. Thanks, Josh, on the Washington call last night. Got me in the green. Look, I'm happy that it got you into the green, but that could have gone a lot better. So Twins, look, only 5% owned. I think they're relatively easy to get to. You don't get the leverage. Lefty power plays up. So Wallner, Santana, Larnack, Castro, Julien. Not the easiest stack in the world. No MPEs or anything, but I'm fine with getting to Minnesota. I don't know how much I'll get, but like they look a lot better to me than St. Louis does. Okay, first run on the sim should be done. Yes, it is. So I'll have some exposures in about 3 or 4 minutes. You guys got any other teams? I'm not seeing anything immediate. I guess I should look at the Yankees. I mentioned them before. Obviously going to be very expensive. 21st in top value for Stochastic, 18th for me. So not surprising. We're in a park that really negates power, but that does not matter in any way to Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Jazz Chisholm, Giancarlo Stanton, JT Ginn going for the A's. That's a joke to me. I understand that it's not gin. It's besides the point. That's an old Ted Ginn joke. Shout out Ted Ginn. I don't think that we keep riding the Mets, Jason Gordon. Don't feel like today's the day. But, they have been rolling. As I look at the Yankees, though, They're fifth in ownership, but the most owned guy for the Yankees is 6%. So, like, really, ownership in hitting doesn't matter because the Yankees just aren't owned. Even at fifth, 5% is nothing. Soto looks pretty clearly like the best option since you're going righty-lefty. I'm not going to tell anybody not to roster Aaron Judge. Austin Wells as a catcher option, not the worst option in the world. Starting to think that I won't get to as much of the Yankees as I thought, just from a salary perspective, but we shall see. What was the other? Ice Through says Rockies. I sincerely doubt it. I mean, I like them a little bit more than the stochastic tools, but these guys are so expensive for their raw talent. Like, they're the second worst value on today's slate. But they're also a team that projects with a sub 300 WOBA. I really hope I don't get the Rockies. This isn't one I want to cheer for. Do we like the Padres tonight? Like is probably strong. Like, I don't have an issue getting there. Power plays up. Lefty on the hill. Obviously Crochet, so different style of lefty. There are pieces here. Like Donovan Solano. 2,400 first third MPE. I can handle that. As I look at it, though, let's just go through each team on the left-hand side, and I can kind of point out what I'm expecting. No on the Orioles. Tigers could happen, but they look so bad, but they are getting ownership on the pitching side. Red Sox wouldn't surprise me. Non-terrible top stack odds. Tiny amount of ownership on the pitching side. I'd be surprised on the Twins. I'd be surprised on the Marlins. I expect the Braves. Mets, Phillies, Rangers would all surprise me. Mariners would not surprise me. Decent ownership there. Any of the Astros, Diamondbacks, Yankees, Dodgers, like I'm happy with getting to any of those teams. Giants wouldn't shock me. 4% top stack odds, 10% ownership coming in on the opposite side. It'll be hard for White Sox and A's. I don't know. We're going to learn a lot in a couple seconds. Let me fix this so I can grab my top lineups. I really need to change my formulas, but it's the end of the year. Like, I just don't. I'm not going to have to update this shit for another year. It's not really worth my time. All right, so we're halfway done the sim. Cleveland. Wouldn't be surprised to get to the guard. I bet Jose Ramirez to homer. Speaking of home run bets, has that Griffin Conine line moved yet? Down to 1,100. Nice. Got it at 1,300. It's good to see. Guardians are like a completely average team today. 7th in top stack, 5% top stack, 5% top value, 5% ownership. They are exactly where they're supposed to be. Yeah, I had a really good Mets lineup, but it had a 3-man Angels stack in it, and that didn't work out. And it had Littell and somebody. Although, shout out to Brandon Pfaadt. I think he dropped like 40 yesterday. Pfaadt Littell would have been the combo you wanted. Although that wasn't the combo that won it. I don't really have anything else here from a hitting standpoint. I guess we kind of just need to see the exposures. So let's look at pitching. Highest owned guy. It's a little bit of a combination of Joe Musgrove at 9,100, Garrett Cole at 9K, and then Justin Verlander at 7,800. That's not a strikeout play for Verlander. That's a facing the Angels play, which makes a lot more sense. Most expensive pitcher is Corbin Burns at 9,700. As I look at it right now, I'm expecting to get more of Garrett Cole than anybody else. I expect to get David Peterson a little bit, probably more than Sanchez and Waka. And then after that, I mean, there's no pay down options. Below Justin Verlander, it's Gibson, Herter, Anderson, Crochet, Lively, Fitz, Ginn, Belozo, Freeland, Mason, Black. All of these guys, like Gibson has a 7% implied ownership for me, 5% ownership. Everybody else below Gibson is less than 2.5% owned. I don't think we're going to be getting to the bottom in salary at all. I think you draw a line at Kyle Gibson, and realistically, you're probably drawing the line at Justin Verlander. Not that rostering Justin Verlander feels like a great time, but we got to remember that he's only 7,800. The implied total for the Angels is the third lowest of any team on today's slate. They strike out enough that it might save Verlander to be an actual strikeout pitcher. So I get it for Verlander. Who are the Giga Chalk pitchers? There aren't any really. 24% ownership is the most of anybody to either Cole or Musgrove or Verlander. All right. Sim is done. So let's see what we have. I don't really have a great feel for what's going to show up here for me. It's these bigger slates too. Makes it so much harder. A lot of Musgrove. It appears Justin Verlander is going to be my most exposed pitcher. I saw his name when I clicked that link way more than everybody else. All right, lineups in. Formula dragged. Hitting exposure. Here we go. Most exposed team is the Atlanta Braves. 38% of Michael Harris. In the 20s for Soler, Albies, and Murphy. 16% to Ozuna. The one guy I'm not getting is Matt Olson, which I could handle. But the team that I'm getting to the most is the team I wanted to get to the most, and that is the Atlanta Braves. So that feels really, really good. My second most exposed team, I didn't expect it. I'm not surprised that it happened. That is the Kansas City Royals. I think the value of the Royals is what's carrying the weight here. Bobby Witt and Tommy Pham, both into 20% of my lineups. Perez, Renfroe, Melendez, and Gurriel, all north of 10. And then the team that I just called average not too long ago, the Cleveland Guardians, are my number 3 exposed stack. One of 3 teams that made it north of 10%. A lot of Jose Ramirez, a lot of Kyle Manzardo, Angel Martinez in the leadoff spot, and then Andres Jimenez in the 6 hole, a guy I get to pretty regularly for a second baseman. So it turns out the 3 stacks that I have my eye on to start the day: Braves, Royals, Cleveland Guardians. To touch on the actual own teams, right around the field on the Astros. That's going to be a lot of filler, is my guess. Works for me. Yankees, I didn't get to at all. They are aggressively expensive. And then Dodgers, kind of light. Kind of light. I didn't really take a stand on anybody else, though. Giants, I guess, which I'm not surprised by because Michael Wacha is getting a little bit of ownership. So I have the Giants side a bit. Couple sneak spots on the Angels against that Verlander ownership, which makes some sense if Verlander is going to be 20% owned. But if we're talking about my pitching exposure, most exposed guy is Garrett Cole, 50%. 44 to Justin Verlander. I expected those 2 guys to be my main guys, and they are. Pitching's usually pretty predictable for me. I'm 2xing Charlie Morton. I'm neutral on Joe Musgrove. I don't have Sanchez. I don't have Peterson, really. Neutral on Walker's surprising to me. I didn't expect that. But it's really Musgrove, Cole, Verlander, tier 1. Musgrove, Morton, tier 2. I think it's not all that hard to get to Corbin Burns, but he's appropriately owned in that like 15-16% range. I'm very happy with my pitching exposure. I thought I would get a little bit more David Peterson. But other than that, give me the Verlander and give me the Garrett Cole. Apparently, I'm taking a time machine back to 10 years ago. Garrett Cole and Verlander as my 2 best dudes. That's an interesting path. One random Tyler Anderson lineup, but you can see nothing doing at the bottom. Straight zeros, basically across the board. No George Kirby, which is frustrating just because I know that game's in Seattle, but yeah, in my pitching exposures, I don't see anything that's weird. I really don't. I like these exposures. You know what we're going to do with these exposures, guys? It's the same thing you guys should do. Use the single game sim. So sign up at Stochastic. All you have to do is click the link in the description, whether you want this for baseball, whether you want this for football, maybe you just want this for everything. There is a package out there for you. Whatever you're looking for, we've got it. But this tool right here, the one that we're about to use, there's not a better tool that you'll find at Stochastic. If you like being hands-on with your lineup construction, whether in baseball, Seattle is playing in Texas. I could have swore that game was at home. No wonder I don't like him. Oh, yeah, it is in Texas. Well, that's why I don't like George Kirby. Thank you, guys. They were at home yesterday, right? Yeah. Anyway, sign up at Stochastic. Link in the description. This tool is so much fun, and we're going to use it right now. And I'm going to start with the team that I have the most of, the same way we do every other day. Atlanta Braves, come on down. You are the answer to who is going to be my number one stack. What about the Padres? Yeah, I don't really have them. A little too expensive for me. We'll take a look. Maybe we'll take a look at them. We'll see. All right, so for Atlanta, there's no other way to do it. Michael Harris has to be the first guy in. Arcia has to go in. Albies has to go in. Sean Murphy has to go in. And then one other outfielder feels like Soler. So that's 5-man Braves. I'm going to go to my preferred pitching combination. Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole. I have 4,500 for a first baseman, a third baseman, and an outfielder. Feels like this is going to be pretty easy to do. Let me get my sticky note open. That's yesterday's. Clear that out so we have our reference points. So, where do we want to go for first base? Highest projection available is obviously Ohtani. Otherwise, we want to get into the 7s if we can. Which, based on Cleveland, is Kyle Manzardo. And we need a third baseman. So Manzardo, Jose Ramirez, and now we can do a $5,100 outfielder. Now, if it were up to me, we would have one of those $5,100 outfielders that fit here. This might allow us to upgrade Verlander. If I add Lane Thomas, I have $1,000 left. Let's use this as our anchor. 98.09, 103.30. What are we going to get? 36.1. All right, that's our first reference point. Now remember, we have $1,000 to upgrade this lineup. This is going to get better by default when we swap out Verlander. Verlander out. Who's the best guy left? This is perfect because we do gain a little bit of projection. We give up ownership and we get some synergy with that Atlanta stack by upgrading to Charlie Morton. Now, 98.74. We gain 0.7 of a point. We cut our ownership. This is going to jump into the mid 40s. And I think we can even do better than what we have. Huh. Lower. That makes no sense to me. None whatsoever. So let me pull the pitching again and see if there's something we can do a little bit better in the outfield, third, and first. Maybe Cleveland isn't the answer. So from a projection standpoint at outfield, we're looking for 8+ if we can. MJ Melendez is the first guy that we could sort of entertain. Tommy Pham, on the other hand, though, is the dude. If we go Pham, Adam Frazier, and Salvador Perez. I mean, we're going to be able to go to whichever pitchers we want. I don't know if that's going to work out the way we want it to. I mean, we could take Musgrove Gallen right away and still have salary left. It's $2,000 left over. What's funny is same projection, same ownership, but $2,000 left. Kansas City's just too cheap. Honestly, it kind of lets me think that I can get to Olsen, but I don't know who I would pull. I guess we could pull Arcia and go to Olsen. Now we can go third short outfield. So short allows me to get Bobby Witt. Third then goes back to Frazier. Outfield then can go back to Pham. Now we have a little bit less pitching salary to work with. If I grab Charlie Morton, leaves me 7,900. That gets me Verlander. 102.15 and 118. We increased our projection by 4 here. Josh Medlin. There is no ideal ROI range for a lineup. Every slate is going to be different. A slate with like 4 games is going to be way different than a slate with like 12 games. 39.9. Honestly, I thought that would have been better there too. 102.15, 118.06, 39.9. I guess it's an ownership thing. Can I save that in any way? Like, does not having Verlander matter? Like, if I turn Verlander into Kyle Gibson, we do give up a little bit of projection, about a half point. We cut ownership a lot, too. I want to see how much that ownership matters. Val Venus in the house. Hello, ladies. It was an ownership problem, everybody. 77.6. The czar of the lineup generator is here, doing everything that he does every other day, which is dominate this tool. Boom. 77.6. I am exceptional at using this tool. Exceptional. So we've got one book now. Braves 5-man, Royals 3-man, Morton Gibson, and all of a sudden we're up to 77 in ROI. So that's team 1. We've got 15 more minutes that we can break this stuff down. I'm going to go to the one that I'm a little curious about. It's the team that I didn't expect to get to. We're going to go to the Cleveland Guardians. After that, we'll start taking some suggestions. But for the Guardians, clearly we're going Jose Ramirez. You just kind of have to, good guys. We're going to get Kyle Manzardo. We're going to get, honestly, I kind of wanted to get Naylor, but, Manzardo's 2,200 left. I guess Jimenez, that gets us a second baseman. Angel Martinez is just cheap. And then final guy, who's the best value left? Rocchio, no. Bo Naylor. We'll test Bo Naylor. Short outfield, and 2 pitchers. Honestly, I kind of want to go back to Bobby Witt here in Kansas City. Who do I have as my number 1 shortstop? I know that it's Bobby Witt, but is there another option that's worth a shit? No, there's really not. Tommy Edman? Okay, game stack? Can we game stack here? Can we go Mason Wynn, Burleson, Nootbaar, Brendan Donovan? We can have either pitcher we want. This isn't going to be it. Holy shit, that projection's terrible. I mean, there's no ownership on this lineup at all. This is going to change so dramatically. Top 2 pitchers would be Let's go Musgrove, Gallen. 1,900 left, 93 and 77. I kind of want a reference point here of what happens because the ownership is half of what we had before. But this lineup projects quite poorly. St. Louis has got to go there. Yeah, 4%. It is not a St. Louis 3-man that we're looking for here. I'm going to try Kansas City again because of Bobby Witt. So if we go Bobby Witt and we go Tommy Pham and then we go Hunter Renfroe, 9K average for each pitcher. Now we can go Musgrove, Gallen again. 97.5, 97.5. Yeah, this is just going to be in the 20s. Jorge, I kind of want to check out the Dodgers for sure. I kind of want to check the Yankees too, which is going to be difficult. Yeah, 40. 40. We're figuring out our range here. All right. First lineup that I got from anybody was Jeremy Savage, so I'm going to hit that one first. Musgrove and Verlander. Gavin Lux. Wait, what order is this in? No Lux, Jeremy. So let's hit. All right, let's hit Kepenekla. Oh, he wants to go to Dick Fitz. Interesting. Sorry, I had to refresh there. Large, 25. All right, let's get Fitz and Musgrove. Goodman. Oh my God, I can't spell. No Luis Arise. Kepenekla. So 0 for 2 here. All right, Steven, let's try this one. Maybe we'll get there. Clear. All right, let's try this again. Musgrove and Burns. So we're going big pitchers. Okay. Wong. Am I dumb? Or are you guys... I don't know why I didn't see that name. All right, Connor Wong in. Olsen. Rafaela. Ursh. No Ursh. This is 0 for 3. 0 for 3. Jake, let's try that one. We'll go Morton Musgrove. Musgrove. Morton. Langoliers. Where's Oakland? Soderstrom. Geloff. No Paul DeYoung. Unless I'm just screwing this up every time that I do it. I don't believe that I am. Yeah, no Paul DeYoung. So 0 for 4 on your suggestions, guys. Ice through. Let's try it out. Waka. Morton. Diaz. I'm going to assume that's Astros Diaz. Manzardo. Jimenez. Bregman. Pena. Alvarez. Myers. There it is. No Myers. No Myers. So I'll put Ozuna in, and then I'll take whoever the best possible option left is. If there's any synergy. Oh, Myers is there. Doesn't help that I don't spell well, you spelled Myers wrong, so made me spell Myers wrong. 100 left, 96, 7, and 82. This might actually be decent. Projection's a little low, but we've cut a lot of ownership here. Nah, 9.9. Okay. All right, I'm going to try one or two more on my own here. Let's look at, you know what? Let's look at the Royals, because that is my second most exposed team. We've used minis. What happens if we go the full bore on Kansas City? So let's get Bobby Witt in there. Let's get Tommy Pham. Obviously, Salvador Perez is going in, certainly at catcher. Renfroe works for me. And then, God, the rest of this is pure shit. Michael Massey, I guess, just to cover second. So we've got our 5-man in. Then it's first, third, outfield. Best values, Manzardo, Caratini, Solano. Kind of want to look at Carlos Santana here. So let's go Santana, Royce Lewis, all right, if I put in Buxton, leaves me 7,500 for each pitcher. That's not great. That means it's Verlander. Oh, boy. Just out of curiosity, what is JT Ginn? I mean, this is going to be bad. We're going to be too expensive in Minnesota, and we're costing ourselves too much in pitching, for sure. But I got to run it anyway. Jake Loma's out. What's going on, man? Glad you're here. All right, Sim. Yeah, 24.5. Not going to work. Let's get Ginn and Verlander out of there. If I swap out Buxton for a different Minnesota guy, does that make life any easier? Wallner saves me 700. That then allows me to get to Verlander and Waka. Now that helps because we sync up the Waka with Kansas City. This probably looks a little tiny bit better, but I think we got to pull Minnesota more than anything. This should be better than the previous. $64.8. I'm telling you guys, I know what's what in these parts. I mean, we could probably get, who's the first base option for Cleveland? Naylor? Can I go Naylor? Jose Ramirez? Nope. Sure as shit can't. Third. Ooh. Jazz Chisholm. Where the hell are they? There they are. Anthony Rizzo. Soto? That only allows us Kyle Freelander, Mason Black. That ain't going to be it. Nope. Nicked. Pass. Skip. Can't be Soto. Can't be Judge or Soto. Stanton maybe at 4,700. That leaves us 74 at pitcher. Can't be Ginn. Gotta be Fitz. Yeah, that ain't gonna be it either. Thought we could get the Yankees there. That turned out to be incorrect. Boston? Devers? Tristan Casas? Boston outfielder. Duran too expensive. Yeah, this is definitely Yoshida. 5-3 leaves us 7,900 at pitcher. That lets us get Kyle Gibson. That's a much better option. 96 and 82. This might be really good. $39 again. Is there a Royal I could turn into a Red Sox? Not going to be Perez. So if I just select, here's what we can do. If I select Boston game and Kansas City game, we can go through everybody. So Massey's the best second base option. Can't do that one. We're not taking out Bobby Witt, obviously. Hunter Renfroe. Can we turn Renfroe into somebody better? No. Renfroe is the best option we can do there. Pham? No. I guess I can't make this switch. Actually, if I pull Witt, I don't think this is going to work, but no, Trevor Story stinks. Better value, though. If I swap Witt for Story, what can I turn Kyle Gibson into? I could turn Kyle Gibson into Joe. I could turn both of these pitchers into whatever I want. What if I go Musgrove, Gallen? That's probably not going to be much of a difference. All right, ice through. That's going to be the final lineup I do until we get back here on Monday. Look, we hit 270 plus with very little effort. So we know where we stand for today. The Czar is back in his seat, absolutely killing it. Final lineup. Here we go. Shout out to Ice Through. Shout out to all you guys for being here. I absolutely love doing what I'm doing right now. Verlander in. Waka in. We're going to assume that's Salvador Perez. Going to go to the Yankees and grab Rizzo. Massey. Chisholm. Witt. Melendez. Harris and Dominguez. Dominguez in. And then we pull this to get to Michael Harris. Spent all the salary, 96 and 98. It'll be okay, but we're giving up too much projection for the amount of ownership that we've taken on. One of Witt or Harris has to go. Probably Harris. Harris just does not fit this lineup construction. We'll be able to change that pretty easily, too. Yeah, 20%. We need to kill the Michael Harris ownership piece here. Now, he's the best projected dude here by a mile. But, I mean, you can save a little bit of it by just simply swapping him to Soler. 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, even just simply making that Tommy Pham and then upgrading Waka to Garrett Cole? That's too much ownership still. I think Rizzo and Dominguez are killing this. Like, Dominguez is only projected for 5.9. That's not very good. Yeah. Dominguez would have to go in this one. Wait. Can I? Stanton Kyle Gibson is an upgrade. Really cuts the ownership too. All right, final run. Guys, thank you for being here today. Make sure you're hitting that like button or following me on Twitter if you haven't done it yet. Subscribe to the channels. NFL strategy show coming up next. I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss the times. What the fuck? 10 a.m. NFL strategy show. Laffy and Greg Ehrenberg breaking down some pigskin. Greg and Eric back tonight for live before lock. I hope you guys had a great week. I know I did. Weekend is upon us. We'll have a ton of NFL coverage on Sunday. Thank you guys so much for being here. Odds Shopper Live coming up in 2 hours. I'll talk to you guys later. Enjoy your weekend, everybody.